Hey guys, Tactical. So this week's tip of the week should be a little bit of a long one, but I got a bunch of tips wrapped up in this one. This week I'm doing a video on fuel siphons. So if you've ever tried to dump like a 5-gallon can of gas into your vehicle, especially with the new stupid like environmentally friendly nozzles that like actually make you spill gas all over the place, it's a pain. So first tip is using a fuel siphon. These are awesome. Basically all you do is take your gas can, put it somewhere higher than where you're trying to put the fuel, and then you use a hose to siphon it from one to the other. Now, the old way that everybody learned to do this was you would take your suction end, and you would actually stick it in your mouth and you would suck on it to get the siphon started. They make some now that have like a brass piece at the end with a little glass ball in it, and you dunk it in and out a couple of times to actually get it going, and the glass ball acts as a check valve, and those work alright. I have one, it's in long-term storage right now, but this is actually a marine fuel hose, and I find these to work far better. And I actually modified this one, and I went to Ace Hardware and just picked up some copper tubing. I actually walked in with the hose and just found some tubing that the outside diameter of the tubing is a little bit smaller than the inside diameter of the hose, and I just shoved them in there. And I don't need any hose clamps. This isn't a pressurized system or anything like that. So yeah, I don't think I need to expand on that anymore. But the nice part about the marine fuel hoses is this priming bulb right here. And these have a check valve in them, but with a cheaper one like this, it usually doesn't work, but that's not a big deal, because all I do is I'll put my finger over the end that's going into my vehicle, and so I'll squeeze with my finger off, and then I'll put my finger over here, let go, and it forces the suction to come from this side. And then you take your finger off, squeeze, put your finger back over, and let go. And that works perfectly fine. I've used this a lot like that. Actually, let me back up a little bit. One other thing I should mention, I'm using copper tubing. Copper or brass only. Copper or brass only, no other metals. Copper and brass are non-sparking, so that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're going to use something like PVC or any type of plastic or anything like that, you need to make sure that it's fuel rated so that it doesn't like dissolve. I guess another point is the reason I have this one as long as it is for some of the NATO cans that I use. They're fairly tall tanks, so this goes straight down to the end. If you just have the hose on here, like, it kind of has the natural curl to it, and it's hard to get it down to the very bottom of the tank. I think the last point that I had to make is usually boats come with outboards on them. Like, that's just a thing. So usually you see somebody buying an outboard, it's because they're upgrading or they're replacing what they have because it's worn out. And a lot of times the outboards will come with an installation kit. So one way you can pick one of these up for either free or next to no money is go talk to your local marine shop. And regardless of where you live in the country, there's probably a marine shop somewhere around you because there's a lake or a river or something. So there's probably a marine repair shop somewhere around you. And a lot of times, at least in my experience, just because somebody's replacing an outboard doesn't mean they replace all their fuel lines. It's kind of a pain. So if you go in there and just ask, hey, do y'all have any of these laying around? they might actually have one, they might give it to you, or, you know, hey, $5, whatever the case might be. But anyway, I think that pretty much covers it for this one. So, until next time, bye.